Now, as we head into the overnight session and tomorrow, the market context really hasn't changed. I think that the intermediate time frame bearish bias may still come into play. And if we get a break below this developing trend line, which would mean a break below today's RTH low, then that could trigger a liquidation type move back down into the 53.19.5 to 28.5 area. So we can essentially use today's low, 47.75, combine it with some of the lows here, and use that as key support. So 47.75 to 57.75 can be overnight support. And if we break below that, and we see a proper trend line break here that takes us below these lows, then we should be able to test the swing low over here and even head lower towards the 5300.5 to 09.5 area. So as we head into overnight, our short-term bias will continue to be neutral, and the intermediate time frame bias will continue to be bearish. And the main thing we're watching out for is whether sellers step in and we get that breakdown move, or are we going to maintain this trend and eventually try to break higher, and then perhaps we find sellers at those better areas of resistance. All right, guys, that's going to be a wrap on today. Thank you for attending. I hope you all traded well. I think that, this light volume that we had today, I think that situation is likely to change over the next day or so, just because the market is at this key inflection point. So I think that, that idea that we discussed in Friday's recap, that either buyers now need to step up in a more important way or sellers need to step back in and push the market lower, that big idea is still on the table. And I think that once that big idea starts to play out one way or the other, it is going to result in an increase in volume and an increase in volatility, and we're going to get that bigger range. But today, we knew going into the open that it was already a very light volume overnight session. So I don't know if it's going to happen tomorrow or the day after, but it seems like it could happen as early as later on tonight or tomorrow. And if we do get that break below 53.47.75 to 57.75, and we get that trend line break on the hourly, then it would force some stops to get triggered. That can then result in a pickup in volume. That can then result in more stops being triggered, and it kind of starts this cycle where it can push the market lower. And if we end up holding the 47.75 to 57.75 area, continue kind of chop near the highs, then we can still get that upside breakout, although I still think, with the intermediate time frame bias being bearish, the upside breakout is still going to require much more effort as compared to the downside move, because the downside move is in alignment with the intermediate term bias and the upside move is against it. So either way, I think that we are going to get some sort of move here over the next day or two. So be on the lookout for that. Don't get complacent. Just because today was choppy does not mean tomorrow has to be. All right, guys, we'll end with that. Thank you for attending. I hope you all traded well, and we'll be back at it bright and early tomorrow morning. Take care and enjoy the rest of your day.